So as you guys know, the Queen has passed away, and I wanted to make a video today just to let you guys know how I personally feel about that as a British person. Obviously, how I feel isn't going to be the same as how every single British person feels, but I just wanted to tell you my thoughts on the situation, particularly because I'm not in the UK right now, which is kind of a weird feeling, and it makes me feel a bit guilty, weirdly enough, even though there's nothing I could have done about it. So I guess I'm going to start off with how I found out and my immediate reaction to the whole thing. So at about 10 p.m. last night in Japanese time, I got an alert on my phone basically saying that the Queen was ill. And I've had alerts like this before. I mean, not many, but she was 96 years old, so it is kind of expected that she would be unwell sometimes. But what was different about this was the fact that it was on the homepage of the BBC News website and it was getting live updates. And the updates were as soon as every 10 minutes. And then what made it feel even more real and more scary was the fact that they had announced that the Queen's family were going to Scotland to visit her. And so I think at that point most people knew that this was going to be bad. And I kept refreshing my phone to get the latest updates, and it got to a point where I knew I had to go to sleep. And it was a really weird feeling going to bed last night because I knew that when I woke up in the morning, my country wouldn't have a queen anymore. And that's exactly what happened. Weirdly enough, I had woken up earlier than usual, like much earlier than usual, and I had done it automatically. I had no alarm or anything. I just immediately woke up, looked at my phone, and was greeted with tons of messages from my friends, family, news reports, basically saying that the Queen had passed away. And the first thing I did was call my dad, and he told me that he was very upset, and he had found out because he was driving home from work, and he heard it on the radio and he cried in the car on the way home from work. So yeah, it was pretty shocking. And after my phone call, I decided I was going to watch a live stream of the news in the UK just to kind of get a better idea of what was going on. And at the time I was upset, but I wasn't crying or anything. I was just a bit sad. And then they were showing clips of, you know, the highlights of her reign as Queen of England. And they showed that clip from the Jubilee where she was having a conversation with Paddington Bear. And at the end of the conversation, he looks at her and says, "Thank you." And she smiles at him, and I just burst into tears. I'm still a little bit emotional thinking about that. Like, I did not expect to cry, but I cried. I just burst into tears. And it's a really weird feeling because I didn't know her personally, as most British people didn't. Most of us didn't know her personally, but the way she was, you felt like you did. You know, in all of her speeches that she did, whenever we were going through uncertain times or a tragedy in our country had happened, she would always make a speech, and she wouldn't ever speak like a woman who had a crazy amount of power like she did. She spoke to us like she was one of us, like she was a member of our family. And I believe it's because she truly cared about the people. I really believe that. So yeah, that was my reaction. And I have received some lovely messages from, you know, you guys telling me how sorry you are to hear that the Queen had passed away. And it's really nice to see that the Japanese people really care as well. That really stood out to me. I really noticed that. And I posted on Instagram as well, and I got so many responses, and so many people in Japan were sharing my sadness and the sadness of the world, really. And it's kind of crazy to think about. You know, the Queen, she was the head of state, the head of the Commonwealth, and yet all over the world felt so sad about this tragic loss, and that's incredible to me. So even though I am in Japan while all of this is happening, it's still nice to be here and be surrounded by people who understand. I think that's lovely, and I'm really grateful for that. So I think one of the biggest things that makes this situation so emotional is the fact that the Queen has always been there. She was on the throne for 70 years. she's the only queen and head of state I've ever known, and the only queen and head of state that my father has ever known. So I think that kind of proves how long she'd been on the throne for. So prime ministers have come and gone, the world has changed so much, and the queen has always been there. And so for her to suddenly not be there anymore, and it is like seeing a member of your family disappear, because it's someone you feel is always there, like a parent or a relative. You feel like they're always there until they're gone, and that's exactly what, you know, the world is experiencing right now. And it's really crazy to think about. On top of that, I will never see another queen in my lifetime, because obviously now we have King Charles III, and then we'll have William, and then William's son. So I'll never see another queen in my lifetime. So I feel so honoured that I got to. And especially as a young woman, I think she's an amazing role model to have, to see a woman in such a position of power. And she really embodied the famous British phrase we have, which is keep calm and carry on. That was her completely. Even in the most stressful situations, she always remained calm and had a way of comforting you with her speeches. And she just really felt like the nation's grandmother, and that's what she was known as. I think for me as well, I really love the way that she clearly loved animals. She was always with her corgis. She always lit up whenever she was around horses, and that's one of the qualities about her I truly admired. So I think the next thing to talk about would be King Charles III. I think it's going to take me a while to get used to that. And I don't know, I kind of always believed that he wouldn't be king until there was a coronation, but I guess he's already the official king now, which is something I definitely need to get used to. It's quite different to go from constantly saying the Queen, the Queen, the Queen to now saying the King. I think that's going to be strange, but you know, it's exciting. It's a new era, and yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to see what happens. I mean, he's definitely going to be a different type of head of state. But yeah, I think it'll just be interesting to see what happens. It's so crazy because I know the Queen was 96, but to me, she kind of felt immortal. And I think to a lot of people, she felt that way too. It's so crazy to think that this has been so shocking, and logically it shouldn't be. When you're 96 years old, this type of thing shouldn't be shocking, but it really is. It really, really is. Like I said, when you're so used to that person being there, for them to suddenly go, it's tough, it's difficult. So what happens next now in the UK is there will be, I believe, 12 days of mourning. And I actually had to search what this meant, because I've never really experienced this before. But what that means is government will be suspended and all big events will be cancelled. So that's currently what's going on in the UK. I'm sure you've seen the images of people gathering outside of Buckingham Palace. People are extremely emotional and sad, and I'm kind of sad that I can't be there. But like I said, I'm happy that I'm in Japan right now too, because I've seen so much support for the UK right now, and that's been pretty amazing to see. I think I'm going to end this video here. I've just been so grateful to you guys, and to any of you watching this, thank you. Like I said, this is just the way that I feel personally, and this is a very emotional video for me. I don't usually do emotional videos like this, but I felt that I had to, and that I had to say how I truly felt, because this is such a shocking tragedy, and I felt that as a British person I needed to talk about this and kind of tell you how I feel. But yeah, not everybody feels the same way. I just do, and I think, yeah, I wanted to share that.